First of all, thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
We're starting off with this camera here.
Mm? Yep.
Shit. No!
Hello, my name is Jocke.
Awesome.
You're watching Drum Talk.
Stop!
Hey everyone, this is Jocke from Amon Amarth. We're here in Frankfurt at Jahrhunderthalle.
So when it comes to your own playing or watching other people, other drummers play, what is it that fuels your gear? What gets you moving and your heart beating?
Oh, jeez. I would probably say when people execute really difficult stuff really well. You know, they have I tend to watch Daniel on this tour a lot, and he has a lot of fills that he does, and he just do them very well. And when that happens, I just, get goosebumps or get my heart going, when a drummer executes his stuff very, very well and professional. Well, first of all, I think it has to be tight, of course, and with a lot of power. And when you can see a drummer really gets into the mood of that fill or that particular part he's playing, and when that happens and he gets the feeling and he hits hard and tight, and then when you land on the snare and the crash. Or there might be a break and you just flip your hair and everything just feels good for that drummer and you see it. That's when you know he's done well. And I feel it's whoa. One of those moments. It has to be tight, hard, and heavy. I think that's the main thing.
I heard you saying that you're pretty much a metal drummer through and through.
Mm-hmm. I would say so.
Yeah. And what aspects of drumming did you pay most attention to in your formative years? And why?
When I first started off drumming, I wanted to be a fast drummer. And I practiced speed at first. And then I discovered different kind of techniques to play fast. I kind of adapted those techniques and tried to hit as hard as possible. So I think that's my main strength. To play fast, well, not super fast, not like 300 BPM fast, but fast enough, and hit hard, and also be tight. Those were my main goals, be tight to the click or to the other musicians if we don't play with a click. Yeah, I started out very early with a click. As soon as I think it was my guitarist at the time, he said, well, if you want to be super tight, then you should probably practice with a metronome. And I was like, what the fuck is a metronome? So I pretty much always play with a metronome. It's really important, especially with backtracks, I think. Otherwise, you're gonna speed up and the backtracks are like, and you're going da 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 da. It's important for everyone, I think.
Recently, I had to record drums for a friend of mine, and it was slower tempos, like 140 to 170, but double kicks straight for 7 minutes. And holy shit, that burned my legs.
Yeah.
You play those super fast things, for me super fast, for straight for many minutes in Amon Amarth. Mm-hmm. So was it a challenge, or could you do it like this because you were already in that kind of game?
Yeah, I think it was, well, I don't want to pet myself too much, but it was like that. Because first of all, I played black metal, so that was pretty fast. And then I have always been playing power metal in my spare time. So
that's the key.
Yeah, so in power metal there is pretty much always fast double kicks. I practice that everywhere. When I had a normal job, I practiced it on the bus to my job. I was sitting at home in my apartment practicing. You know, if I sat with my computer gaming, I had a double pedal and a practice pad underneath the desk that I practiced while playing.
So you're one of those guys who always post the Facebook pics with the drum kit on the toilet.
Yeah, yeah, almost. Yeah, but it felt really natural to play a lot of kicks fast for a long time. And that's also how I practice. If I know we have a song in, let's say, 205 BPMs, and I know that section is just 1 minute, then I must be able to play it for 2 minutes, because I always want to be on top of my game, not just where I'm supposed to be. I want to be able to play more.
Yeah, sure. You always have to be better than what you have to perform.
Yeah, I think so.
Because on a not so good night, that will save you in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're just supposed to play for 1 minute and then you can only play for 1 minute, those really fast kicks, and then we come to the end of that minute, then you're gonna be like, oh shit, you're gonna have to struggle, you know, and then you're gonna might fuck up the next fill, or because of your lack of self-consciousness, or yeah, you might be tired or whatever. So it's really important.
Switching from Valkyria shows to Amon Amarth gigs, it's not just more people in the crowd, but also way bigger rooms.
Yeah.
So when I talked to Steve Smith, he explained that Journey was writing material that works in stadiums because that was where their music happens. So did you have to change anything playing-wise or sound-wise? Or is it the same setup, same cymbals, same tuning, same triggers? You know what I mean? Is there a difference between the small club and the big club?
Never thought of that, to be honest. And when I think of it now, I think that the sound engineer in whatever venue should be able to make my kit justice. I don't want to adapt to the venue or the sound engineer, because it's his job to make me sound good, not the other way around. That's a simple answer, but I think it has to be like that, I think. Otherwise, I would have to scale down my kit or change tuning or muffling or cymbal setup. And no, I don't compromise in my equipment.
I had never had the idea that Journey is composing songs for a stadium. So that maybe says, okay, you can't play that complicated fill right now because nobody will get it.
All right.
And the sound waves will fuck up, so it will just be a mess. Mm-hmm. So you just cannot play that super fancy, I came up with that great fill in here and nobody gets it. This is what I never thought about. And I assumed maybe that is for Amon Amarth something as well, because you're playing big halls all the time.
Well, we never spoke of that. And I don't think that has an impact to the music either, you know, because Amon Amarth is relatively fast music, and people get what they get. I don't think we would ever compromise the tempo or the difficulty of a fill just because we play big venues now. I don't think so.
What I experience is that bigger shows are exciting, but it's all the way more complicated on many levels. So when you joined Amon Amarth, how did you have to adapt your mindset and how you organize your daily life compared to how it was with your former bands?
Well, with my former bands, it was a lot of beers and more underground rock and roll life, you know. I warmed up for half an hour and then I went on stage, right? It wasn't really difficult. But now, since there is more pressure, people will actually notice if you fuck up because they know it's the songs. I started doing a 2-part warm-up instead. So the first one is for my mind. I have a specific routine I do so that I know that I will not fuck up. I will like picture myself in a very good position after the show and tell myself this is the best show I have ever done, you know, more than 2 hours before the show. So I see myself leaving the stage, and when I leave the stage in my mind, I feel like, fuck yeah, this was the best show. And then when I go up there, I know I will do a great show because I know what I will feel afterwards. You have to see yourself in the future being happy, and if you don't see yourself happy, then you won't be happy or satisfied with your performance. So that's my first warm-up thing, my mental warm-up. And then 1 hour before the show, I now have this beautiful digital kit from Roland that I warm up with every day as well. More focused to playing tight, getting my limbs going, hands and feet, and and shoulders, and the head, bang, neck, and you know, there's a lot more that I had to think of than playing in my former bands. But now I know how it is. So now it's more routine than things I have to do.
So did you come up with that meditative routine all by yourself, or was it some kind of teacher? Or
no, I read about it somewhere that it would be nice to have a different mentality to it. So I Googled it and I found a really good essay by a Finnish girl, I think. I downloaded that and I read it and I was like, yeah, this makes sense. And I tried it and it worked. Yeah. I'm happy to share it with everyone who asks. I think it's important actually to know where you're supposed to be and not like, yeah, I'm going to go up on stage and do a good show. Okay, then you know. But how would you feel after the show? Do you think of your feels before you do them, or do you just do them by muscle memory? I can see myself doing these feels 3 hours before the show, and then I know how they're done. Then there's no problem anymore.
Expectations are a very important factor in delivering your craft, which means sometimes our own expectations on ourselves can be our worst enemy. You know, that you think, oh man, I suck. That fill wasn't good. I'm not in a good mood today. And you think everyone in the room is thinking the same. So you project your own fears onto the others, but all the other guys in the room are like, wow, man, he's the shit.
Yeah.
So you know that feeling, at least you can relate to it in a way. So were you worried at any time not to be able to get the Amon Amarth job done, or were you confident the whole time?
Well, of course, it has been some mental struggles, you know, because going from where I was to where I am, it's a big step. Of course, you have a lot of expectations on yourself and what you can perform and what you cannot perform. That's where I think this mentality thing that I told you about really helps as well. But of course, if you somehow fuck up a fill and then you feel like, oh man, everyone noticed that one, or this wasn't exactly as I planned to play it or usually plays it. And as you said, people don't really notice those stuff, because as long as you keep the beat and don't show it too much, you'll be fine, I think. But yeah, fake it till you make it. No, but really, if you... It happens to me sometimes, you know, you play, you know, now this fill is coming and you start to play that fill, and then you like do a rim shot or, I don't know, drop a stick or whatever, and you're like, oh man, now the whole show is ruined for me. I had those thoughts sometimes in the beginning when I actually dropped sticks or, I don't know, didn't play exactly as I wanted, but then I just try to be like a goose, you know, in water, because the water just runs off. And I'm imagining myself with my mental warm up there. That if it happens, I will be like a goose. You know, just go on as if nothing happened. Just continue playing. Don't look back. Never compensate. A lot of people do that as well. They compensate for their mistakes. Like if they fuck up a fill, then they want it to be even better in the next fill, or play harder, or play faster, or do an overcomplicated stuff. But no, just keep going. Play what you're supposed to play. Never compensate. That's a main rule.
So it works for you. You don't look back in anger.
No.
You'll be like, I'm in the moment, and it's fine.
Yeah, the show must go on.
Yeah, well, overcoming those thoughts, that can be real hard for you. At least for me it is. I mean, I know all those things that you might just think differently about it, but it's easier said than done, right?
Yes, absolutely. But I think it comes with the amount of shows you play, you know. If you, I don't know, if you're not in a band who plays many shows, like say that you play like 20 shows a year or something like that, then it will get to you easier than if you play 200 shows a year, because you get used to so many things around the show and when playing, and you get to know yourself better, and so it's easier to let those things go because you can easier focus on the next thing, I think.
At the same time, you don't really have the chance to be worried about those things because the next show is waiting for you tomorrow, right? And you have to do it. So
yeah, that is true as well. Yeah,
no room for doubts.
Yeah, you can get your revenge the next day.
There are bands where the music itself is the thing. So there is no image or backstory or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you have bands like Nile with Egyptian mythology, and you maybe have Cynic with the whole meditative thing, and you have Amon Amarth with the Vikings. So it is more than just the music you have to connect with as a member, I guess. Or how is the identification with this narrative important to you?
Well, first of all, I'm not a Nordic guy from the beginning. But
I think Nile is not from Egypt.
That is true as well. Well, of course, I have learned a lot of things about the Viking culture when I joined this band. It's kind of inevitable not to learn. I mean, of course, it's important to know what the songs are about and what's the story of this, what's the tale of this. And I know that now. But it's not like I'm so into it that I can come up with, hey, why don't we sing about this thing? Or I leave that to Johan. That's, I mean, just felt very natural to join this band because I've been a fan of this band 13 years before I started. And it doesn't feel unnatural in any way, despite the fact that they're singing about Vikings and I'm Chilean, you know. So sometimes people will say that it's a collision of two worlds, like South American and the Vikings from the north, and you know, but somehow it's also a state of mind, I think.
The whole stage, I saw the design, which is like elaborate, to say the least. So, yeah, how does it feel to be within the setting? It's almost like not a film setup, but it's like really something else than the usual.
Oh, well, it feels great, first of all. I was a bit worried in the beginning of this tour when I was going up on the drum riser there, but it turned out fine. But it's massive. We have these inflatable giants coming up in the show as well, and I feel at home. It's something I've grown into now, you know. When I started out, we only had this helmet riser and also the previous setups. And I was like, wow, am I going to be up there? I was always used to playing on the floor of the stage or like a 30 centimeters drum riser or something like that. But all of a sudden I was 160 up in the air at the first drum riser, and then now I think it's 5 meters up.
5?
Yeah, the drum riser goes 5 meters up.
Damn.
It is, yeah. Yeah, especially at these bigger venues when you can actually see the end.
You have a switch and you can control it yourself, right?
No.
That would be awesome.
I wish, yeah. No, it's some of the guys, some of the crew that presses a button.
Okay.
I just have to rely on that it doesn't fall down somehow.
So drumming undoubtedly plays a huge part in your life.
Yes.
So how is that reflected in the rest of your life? George Colliers loves motorsports, and you can easily see the connection of pushing things to another level in speed. And I see a connection with myself of being a drummer and being a filmmaker or videographer and being behind, but keeping it together. So how is your personal life influenced by being a drummer?
Wow. I've always aimed also to be a perfectionist. Whatever I do, I want to do it very, very good. And like, I know, if I clean at home, I want it to be spotless. If I make the bed, I want it to be spotless. One of my recent discoveries in my interests are car detailing, polishing cars and make them look as good as new, exterior and interior. So I think that's one of my perfection moods, and trying to keep everything clean and smooth and polished. And as my playing, I try to keep it tight and slick and always on point. Also, I think that's one of my, well, I'm not diagnosed with OCD or anything, but I have a small tendency to be OCD. So that's why my cymbal setup is always, it's symmetrical. So I have everything I have on my right, I also have on my left, except for the toms, but the cymbals, it's just 2 hi-hats, 2 rides, 2 splashes, shina, crashes, shina. I started out like, it looks good, but then I realized, it's also practical. You can, if you drop a stick in your right hand when you're doing the shina pattern or something, you can always go with your left, and while you grab another stick. So yeah, I like to keep it symmetrical.
When does it work best for your performance? Being in chains of a deadline and a necessity, or being in a free situation? What do you favor? Pressure or no pressure?
I think I prefer pressure, to be honest. Yeah, it gets me in the mood, and I don't have to think too much of myself. Let's say we have a day like this, right? We are at the venue, and I know when we're supposed to play. And I would prefer to have like interview, dinner, meet and greet, show. That's fine. But I also like the free part, when like you can go work out, you can go running, you can sit in the bus and play PlayStation. But if you do that too much, then you probably will be, I would personally be very lazy and, just, isn't it time for show yet? And then you're starting to doze off and, oh shit, and then you're not in the mood anymore. I prefer to be under pressure.
Yeah, being busy.
Yeah.
You see, right?
Yeah.
Could have been way easier with just one camera and sitting there behind, next to you. And
yeah, but this is a lot cooler, especially from my point of view.
You have to go through pain to be more than great. You cope with that statement, or don't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's... I mean, there is a saying in Swedish that is pretty much the same. Om du vill vara fin får du lida pin. which means you have to suffer to be. If you want to be beautiful, you have to suffer the price, or something like that. And I think that they're kind of the same sayings. And yeah, you have to practice hard to be great, and it will hurt you. It will hurt your fingers, it will hurt your legs, it will hurt your back. And not only in the physical way, you will get not damaged, but you will take some turns mental as well. You know, when you're aiming for something and you can't reach it within the time you thought you would. Like, okay, I'm gonna start now and I'm gonna practice until I get to 200 BPMs. That will take, let's say 2 weeks, someone says. And then it takes 3 weeks, and then that's a setback. So yeah, I do cope with that state.
What is the most challenging thing for you playing in Amon Amarth? What you maybe underestimated before you joined the band?
You mean what I underestimated being here? I think I might have underestimated the fans. I mean, I knew Amon Amarth was a big band, right? But I didn't know there were so many fans. I mean, there is a lot of fans, and they're really, really important, and we love our fans. But I just didn't know before I joined Amon Amarth that it was actually this amount of fans. So there's not like anything playing-wise or anything going on here. That I think the fans was the thing that I underestimated most. Well, of course, there are stuff that I wasn't used to or have never done. But those things you get used to very, very fast. Like the first time I played the show and we had fire. I was like, Jesus, this is hot. I'm not going to do this for 90 minutes. And then all of a sudden, oh, this is the last song, you know? So, and then you get used to it, and you end up in another state of mind doing different stuff. I mean, sometimes you have fire, sometimes you cannot have fire in different venues, but the fans will always be there. And to see the expression on the fans' faces when you play and when you start a song, and yeah, that's priceless. I read a quote somewhere. I think it was from Dave Grohl. You can play a song for 85,000 people, and they will sing it back for 85,000 different reasons.
Oh wow!
And I think that's the main thing. Right, guys, Jocke from Amon Amarth. It's been a pleasure here talking to Drum Talk. I will see you on the road.
Thank you so much.